So cellular respiration is essentially the process of producing ATP, which is a form of usable chemical energy for the cell, through the breakdown of glucose molecules. There are actually two different pathways that the cell can go down through cellular respiration to produce this glucose. That's the aerobic pathway and the anaerobic pathway. So I'll start off by explaining the aerobic pathway. So the first step of the aerobic pathway is glycolysis, which happens in the cytosol of the cell, and that produces a total of 2 ATP molecules. Now, in the case of aerobic respiration, the next stage actually occurs in the mitochondria. So that's the Krebs cycle. And from that, another 2 ATP are generated. Now, the final stage in the aerobic cellular respiration is the electron transport chain. So this is actually where the majority of our ATP molecules are made, and we end up getting 32 to 34 ATP just from that one part of the process. So as you can probably tell from the name, aerobic respiration actually requires an input of oxygen. So that's one of our main inputs. So one of the few reactions that you do actually have to know the formula for in biology is cellular respiration. So first up we have glucose, so C6H12O6 plus 6 molecules of oxygen, and that goes to 6 molecules of CO2 plus 6 molecules of water plus our ATP. So that's 36 to 38 ATP in total from the whole process. So as I mentioned, aerobic respiration requires an input of oxygen. So if a cell has insufficient oxygen available, then it actually goes down the other pathway. So that's aerobic respiration. Now, aerobic respiration is interesting in that glycolysis is still happening, so we still get 2 ATP from that. But instead of the electron transport chain and Krebs cycle, which requires the mitochondria, instead we have a process of fermentation. So in this case, the mitochondria isn't used and we don't have an input of oxygen. So we only end up with a total of 2 ATP molecules from our anaerobic pathway. So you can see that overall, the aerobic pathway produces much more ATP than the anaerobic pathway. So that's my summary of cellular respiration. I hope you found it helpful.